to the Bella Vista Gardening Program. I am Geri Hoerner, and today with me is Lou Jasper, who is also a Bella Vista Garden Club member and a fellow Master Gardener. And today we're going to be telling you about what's the upcoming events in July and what to do in your garden in July. And also we're going to be discussing irrigation and water features, because Lou is a great water feature person. She has wonderful water features. And if you missed the Bella Vista Garden Club Flower Show in June, I'm so sorry. Now you're going to have to wait 2 years before you see another one. And we had some wonderful horticulture presented at the show, and it really does allow you to see what grows well here in Bella Vista and the area. So in 2 years you can come back and see our flower show again. There's upcoming events. Aren't too much going on in July because the weather's so hot. Mainly all you do is water and weed and tend your flowers. But the Benton County Fair, which is usually held in September, this year is going to be held in August. And it starts on Wednesday, August 18th and runs through the 22nd. Senior Day will be Thursday, the 19th, from 9 to 2, and that's when seniors will be admitted free with no charge. So information on the county fair can be found at their website, which is bentoncountyfairar.org. And we'll have more information about that next month on next month's program. The Master Gardener's booth will be up at the county fair, and this year it's herbs.
On herbs.
It's on herbs, and that's where you can sign up for Master Gardener classes, which start in January. We only have classes in 1 month of the year, and that's January, so you can sign up at the fair. And if you've been watching the program for a while, you know that we have a Master Gardener project that we show, Meet the Masters. And today we have another presentation from Meet the Masters, and it's going to be highlighting Gwen Kerr's garden. And
Gwen's from Bella Vista.
Gwen's from Bella Vista. And she is being introduced by Beth Strickland, who's actually the chairman of this project. So let's take a visit to Gwen's garden.
Welcome to Meet the Masters. Today we're on the 16th hole of the Highlands Golf Course in Bella Vista, and I'm standing in front of the memorial garden to the Mulick family, who were the first couple to build here on the Highlands Golf Course. Now, this memorial was designed and is being maintained by Master Gardener Gwen Kerr and her husband Richard. And I think it's a lovely memorial to the first couple and also for the residents of Bella Vista. Now, Gwen and Richard are excellent gardeners, and their gardens have been featured on many tours here in Bella Vista, so I know you're going to be anxious to see her garden. So let's cross the street and we'll go meet Gwen.
We've lived on this property 8 years, the 1st of July, and the garden is about 6 years old and younger. It's just a work in progress. To begin with, we brought in 20 dump trucks of soil and had someone spread it. Since then, we've had probably 5 more truckloads of soil brought in. But we're proud to say we have dug every hole, planted every plant, and we have done all this ourselves without any help. My garden specialty is roses. I love roses. I have about 29, and that's probably about all I can have with the sun that I have. I'm very diligent about spraying every week for black spot, funguses. I deadhead every day, and when it gets this time of year, when it's hot, they are heavy feeders. I feed them twice a month. So they're a little worse. My garden specialty is roses. As you can see, I love roses, and I thought you might like to find out how I take care of my roses. I think the first and most important thing is the soil they're planted in. These roses are planted in 18 inches of soil that has been amended, so it is very soft soil. It's not compacted. We have a French drain that runs down the whole length of the roses. I have a drip water system that goes to each rose, so each rose can be deeply watered each time. They appreciate a lot of water. They do not like wet feet. That's why you need really good drainage. The second thing that is important is fertilizing. Bonnie Seals gave me a recipe for a concoction to put on in the spring, 1 cup on each rose in the spring, 1 cup on each rose in the fall. If you would like that recipe, I can give it to you. The fertilizing also, once a month, I use Bayer Rose Flower Care. It says 6 weeks, but I do it once a month because they're heavy feeders in this hot Arkansas sun. Then, the middle of the month, the 15th, I use Miracle Grow. Just pour like a gallon on each rose, and it absorbs right into the rose, just keeps them pretty as ever. Then everybody says roses, black spots, that's their biggest fear. I use Bayer Disease Control for roses, and it prevents black spots. It's a systemic formula, so and as you can see, it really works. I don't have any black spot on my roses. My grandmother is the person that influenced me the most. I was raised by my grandmother in Tacoma, Washington, and of course she could put a popsicle stick in the ground and it would grow. She had roses just all perennial. She had berries, fruit trees, a vegetable garden. And even back then, before composting was in style, they had a big composting bin. Turned out just black compost. And she's the one that really got me into my love of gardening. My future plans for my garden, I'm not going to add many. I think I'm only going to add one more garden because my husband is tired of mowing around the septic tank, so he's going to add something there. But as far as any future plans, I think I've gone just about as far as I can go. I have a rain collection system that my genius husband built for me. The water runs off the roof, down the downspout, through a filtering system into 7 55-gallon rain barrels. Then the rain barrels is attached to an outside faucet. Since this just runs on gravity, he installed a pump for me, so when I turn on the faucet, I switch on the pump and I have water coming out just like a regular faucet. What I can tell you about myself that no one would probably ever guess is my favorite thing in the world to do is whitewater rafting. And my very favorite trip that we took was a 3-day whitewater raft trip from Germany to Austria. It was so much fun. We came back at night, filled ourselves up on German food, gained 7 pounds, loved it. Another trip that we had was down through the Royal Gorge, and we hit Class 5 rapids. I think that is the one thing in your life you can do that you're scared to death but having the time of your life.
you'd like to have Gwen's recipe for her roses and regimen, you can find that on the Bella Vista Garden Club website. It's bellavistagardenclub.com. When you go on the website, you'll see on the left side is a newsletter link. You just click on that, and you go to the September 2009 newsletter, and her regimen and her recipe for fertilizer. What she uses for her fertilizers on her roses is there too, so you can get that right off of our website. And she's got quite an irrigation system there, and I don't think there's too many of us that can do that type of system. I know I'm on a slab, I can't do that.
We have that Paul copied from Gwen's husband, and now we have the same irrigation system, and we use it.
How many barrels?
We have 7.
7 barrels.
And we use it for the hostas.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have 1 rain barrel off of my garden shed, and that's all I have. So I don't have too many rain barrels. We do have a new member that is selling rain barrels and making rain barrels, and we're going to have some information on our website about those rain barrels that are available in Bella Vista. So he does make the rain barrels. His name is Rick Gilbert. And like I said, we're going to get some information on our website about where you can buy those rain barrels. It's not that system that Gwen has. He just has individual rain barrels for sale. But you could set that system up if you have that type of crawl space and flow. And
we put ours under the deck so that they're in shade. Keeps the algae down.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Out of sight.
And the other thing besides rain barrels you can do is soaker hoses. I use a soaker hose on a couple of my beds in the front where I don't have my irrigation system running to it. There's irrigation systems that can be installed by professionals, or you can do your own. The box stores have all the equipment you need to do an irrigation system off of your faucet, and they can be installed pretty easily. The main thing is you buy the manifold, attach it to your faucet, and the Bella Vista POA requires that you have a backflow preventer on your faucets, and once you have that on, you can attach your water system. You get a manifold, some have timers, you can put a fertilizer connector in there to put fertilizer in the water that you're dripping to your plants, and basically you're going to have your manifold connected to your piping. This is your main piping, and it will go all through your garden. Then when you get this laid out where your garden is, there's these smaller feed lines that go to your individual plants. So you'll take this piping, you poke a hole with this punch into this main line, you insert your small emitters, your small drippers, to go right to your plant. So this will go right to the plant that you want to water. There's different emitters with different flow amounts. This one is, I think, 4 gallons an hour. This one may be 2 gallons an hour. So you can adjust per plant how much water is going to that plant by using different emitters. Then you also have some sprinkler emitters. These can be used like in an area we have herbs or something, and these will have water will come out this little emitter here. So there's so many things you can do with that water system, because you can just make it fit your garden. If a plant should die, you can plug up that little hole, take this out, and plug that little hole up, and you don't have to worry about having water coming out where you don't need it. So you buy that that small emitter line in reels, I guess you'd call it, and the same with your large one. It comes in big rolls. So, and Rainbird is one of probably the biggest names that has all that equipment. Also at Lowe's, I noticed that there was a company called Orbit that had a timer that you could be purchased. I don't know anything about Orbit. Keeling is also located in Bentonville, and it's on Airport Road across from Helping Hands, and they have a lot of watering system supplies also. So there's a lot of places you can go to get the equipment. Walmart used to carry some of the Rainbird things.
Irrigation.
Yeah, the irrigation, but they don't carry too many.
No, Lowe's carries
It's hit
a
and
lot.
miss basically there, but most of your box stores will have everything you need. And also there's a company called DripWorks in California. It's a mail order company. Their website is dripworksusa.com, and they're very helpful, and they have just about everything you need. And if you call the order in, you get it within, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. They really ship fast. So after you have your irrigation system set up, you can kind of sit back in July and drink your lemonade and iced tea and enjoy your garden. And then if you have if you're lucky enough to have a water feature, which I don't have, Lou has a wonderful water feature, and she's kind of our water feature expert.
Not an expert, but maybe we can get you started today after you learn something.
Well, I have a place set up.
Good.
And reserved, but he hasn't given in yet. So we have to work on him.
You have to work on Lou.
Yeah.
All right. What I'm going to do then, Geri, today is just tell you some things that you need to get ready and things that you need to do before you get your water garden going.
Okay.
And the first thing you need to do is to find where you want it to go. And that would be the position of your water garden. First of all, you need a sunny location, and the sunny location is provided for the things that you're going to put into your pond. If you don't have a sunny location and you put it under trees, the leaves is going to fall. You're going to have a mess, and also nothing will bloom. The flowers in the water garden needs sun to bloom. So first thing you got to do is find a sunny location. And then you want, where you want your pond, you want it to be close enough so that you can enjoy it. You don't want to put it too far away so that when you'd have to walk a distance. You want maybe to put it somewhere where you're going to walk by it every day, or you can look out your window and see it. So we say visibility, you know, so that you can see it. Then you're going to have to decide on the size of the pond that you want. And you don't want it really, really small, and you don't want it really, really big.
Okay, so
to start with.
What size?
All right, I would say like a 10 by 5, or if you're going to make a circle, you would want it maybe an 8-foot circle. Now, they say that you need to have the pond really, really deep so the coons don't get in it, and so your fish won't freeze and so forth. But if you had a pond that was 24 inches deep at your deepest place in your pond, that would be a good depth.
So 2 foot deep.
And you would, straight sides are good, and people said, well, how do I put in the bog plants or my Japanese iris or my marsh marigolds that do not require that deep? Well, even your water lilies don't require that deep. You're doing that for the fish and things. That's why you're going that deep. But you're going to fill up when you put the water in, then you want some plants that doesn't require a depth. They just want their roots wet. Then you're going to build it up with cement stones or rock or something and build them up. Or if you buy a molded pond form, then they have shelves along the side for your bog plants.
So you just put the pots of those plants on those shelves, and they get the amount of water they need.
Yes, yes. And it generally tells you how deep to plant your plants when you purchase your water plants. It tells you how deep. And of course, water lilies go deeper, but what you're talking about is that you're, first of all, you get your location, now you've got your size, whatever size, and you've got your depth. And one thing that you want to do with a pond, and I've seen some people that have put in a pond and it's not level. And so this end is running over, and this end is about 2 inches on the side. So be sure that's one of the most important things, is getting that pond level.
That's a problem here.
That is a problem here because of rocks, and rocks work their way up. So, you know, what do you put in? You know, like I talked about, already formed ponds. And then you can buy liners. And we have one pond that is formed, and we purchased it at Lowe's. And when we get the pond liner, and we built that one the way we wanted it to be. And it's probably about 10 by 5. And it's 24 inches deep. The form one that we purchased was easier to do, but it's not as large. No, and it just isn't deep enough. If you want waterfalls, and if you want to put in a waterfall, they're very tricky to put in. Some people said, well, I want a waterfall and I want it to run down because my ground is sloping. Well, if you don't have steps in it, you don't get a very good sound with that running water. And if you want to really fight algae in a little step, or not a step down, but just a little waterfall that's going down a hillside or something, a lot of algae problems in that because it's not deep enough, and you've got it in the sun, and so you really fight algae with that a lot. Yeah. Pumps, you got to have a pump. A submergible pump is really a nice pump to have. Doesn't have to be very large. Requires cleaning. It gets plugged
How often
up.
do you have to clean it?
We clean ours about once a month.
Oh, okay.
Just so we get a nice flow of water. We have a little, I think it's a seal. Paul has purchased a little seal that shoots water out of its mouth, and that doesn't disturb the lilies. Lilies do not like to have lots of water moving around them. They like something that's in the sun and just a nice still water there.
Calm water.
Yeah, you can have some water features, just not too rough, not going. Different kinds of plants. You've got the water lilies. Tropical lilies does not live here. They're the most beautiful water lilies because of their color.
But you have to take those.
You'd have to take them in, and to
winter.
keep them over. About the only thing that you can do is put them in a greenhouse, and a lot of us don't have greenhouses. There's floaters that you can purchase. Some are hardy, and some are just they will, like the water lily lettuce, will only last 1 year. You know, that's just in the summer. It multiplies. Now, when you talk about algae, a lot of people say, "Oh, I have so much trouble with algae." When the pond is first coming to life in the spring, you will have some algae because the sun is shining down into clear water, and it makes algae. There's nothing you can. It's just going to be there. You can do things to prevent it. You can color your water where there's a bluing that's sold in most of our Lowe's, Walmart, and so forth, that you can put in the water, and that stops the penetration of the sun getting in the water. That does help. But then when your lilies and your floaters and your oxidizers and everything starts growing, then your pond is covered, and you don't have the algae.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well,
Fish.
I'd like to have some in there.
Yeah, fish. Remember koi. If you have a koi pond, you don't want a lot of pretty lilies and things because they eat. They eat a lot of plants. So koi. If you want a koi pond, have koi, and goldfish. Get in your pots too, and things, but not as bad. You're better off without those.
Well, we have several places you can buy all this equipment.
We do.
Perennials, etc.
And Murphy's Water Garden in Missouri.
Murphy's Water Garden in Missouri.
And they're well worth it. I hope you talk Lou into getting it.
I hope so. I got to find some sun that my roses aren't in. So
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, good luck.
Dedicate my
Good luck
sun
on
to
your water
roses and
garden.
daylilies. So. But anyway, thank you so much for all that information. We'll have probably some more information on the website. Now in July, we need to talk about what to do in your garden. There's really not a whole lot to do in July. It's mainly deadhead.
Deadhead your blooms, and be sure that you're watering, especially right now we need. And always, if you're going to fertilize your annuals, be sure that you water so that you don't do any burning. And if you use a little granulars, you wouldn't burn, you know, if you do.
Right. Now your perennials, you want to pinch back your mums until about July 15th and deadhead your perennials. On your lawns, you got to keep them watered, you know, at least they need at least an inch of water a week. If we don't have an inch of rain, you're going to have to water to keep them green. You don't want to fertilize through July and August, and you want to raise your mower. For roses, we got Gwen's regiment there, but then we also have the beetles.
We have the Japanese beetles.
Right. So they're going to be here till about mid-August, and you just have to learn to live with them, I guess. They're here to stay.
They are.
Yeah. And the trees and shrubs, check for bagworms on your evergreens. They probably start showing up in the summer. And if you've planted any shrubs this year, be sure to monitor their water. And vegetables, you should be harvesting those vegetables.
We're harvesting the vegetables now. Be sure that you, and the fruits, the red raspberries and the blackberries and black raspberries, and now's a good time to be harvesting them and eating them and enjoying. The tomatoes are starting to get ripe.
We're starting to get tomatoes.
Watch for your worms on your tomatoes and just, yes, and just remember they make a beautiful moth, or a little pretty moth. So,
and then the herbs, you have to deadhead, you know, pinch back your herbs, your basil. Don't let it go to flower, and try some herbed vinegar and oils. I love the vinegars and oils. Or, you know,
dry your lavenders.
You dry your lavenders. So keep your herbs going.
Make mint tea.
Make mint tea. That's wonderful. But there's, like I said, in July, there's really not a whole lot you can do. Just keep watering and maybe sit back under the trees with your lemonade or iced tea or whatever beverage you prefer, and enjoy your garden. So that's all we can do this month in July. So if you have any questions, more questions about gardening in July, remember the Master Gardener hotline is available Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They have a Master Gardener there to answer your questions from 9 to 12 and from 1 to 4. And the number is 271-1060. Also, their website is bentoncountymastergardener.org, and it's filled with a lot of gardening information. So if you haven't gotten enough from the show, you can go there and get some more. And then also, the Bella Vista Garden Club has its website. We have a lot of information on our website also, and that's bellavistagardenclub.com. And we will start back our year with our September meeting on September 22nd. On Wednesday, we kind of take the summer off and tend our gardens and rest a little bit. So
no,
the garden
you don't
club.
Rest, Geri.
Well, we don't rest, but we don't do a lot of garden club projects for the month. I mean, for the summer. So I just want to thank you for joining me today, Lou, and we learned about water features. And
I hope everybody has one.
And hopefully we'll get one.
No, we didn't say, but it can be put just in a very small water garden feature. Can go in a big pot or a barrel too.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
right.
So maybe you can start with that.
I think I'll start with that right on the deck, and I'll put a little water feature right on the deck, and I'll hear the water.
Yes,
as we sit
and
there,
you can
so.
have small
and
lotus.
He'll be happy, and I'll be
and
happy.
You'll be happy. That's the important thing, keeping your husband
That's
happy.
That's
right.
So I hope you've enjoyed the show today, and I hope you'll tune in next month. Until then, don't forget to smile and smell the roses.